The market is not cooked, but you might be. In this video, I'm going to be giving a little bit of tough love, but hopefully you guys get something out of this. Hopefully this helps you grow your businesses moving into the future. I think 2026 is going to be a really good year for everybody that stays involved. But when I hear people talking about the market is softening, things are slowing down, prices are coming down, there's less liquidity, whatever. Usually what I tend to hear is retro, I went to my local game store and there weren't as many people in there as there normally are. Or I went to a local card show. I went to a front row card show. I went to a card party. I went to a collecticon and, I didn't see as many people there as I normally saw. There weren't as many sales happening. My buddy vended and he wasn't making as many sales as he normally does. He says when he goes to these shows, right? Or, I run a whatnot or stream on one of these other platforms, or I have my own website, right? And I'm not making as many sales as I normally do. Things are falling off a cliff. The market is crashing. There's no money to be had. What I never hear is I got a PSA sub back, or I just bought a raw collection that's got all popular Pokemon in it, and I listed it on eBay or TCG Player for market price, buy it now, took good pictures, made a good quality listing, had a proper title, and it's just been sitting for 4 weeks. I listed a Rayquaza PSA 10. I just can't sell it. I just can't sell. You never hear that kind of stuff. And it's funny to me because where do people comp off of? eBay and TCG Player. That's where those sales are happening. Why do we comp off eBay and TCG Player? Because that's where the highest volume of sales for collectibles in general, but definitely Pokemon cards, that's where it's happening. That's why you comp off those websites. But people will comp off eBay and TCG Player and then do anything but sell on those platforms and then let that convince themselves that if there's not liquidity in these other areas, that the market is crashing or that it's impossible to sell this stuff. No one wants it anymore. And what I would implore you guys to do is stop using small bits of anecdotal data and then extrapolating that out on the rest of the market and letting that inform your decision making and make you think that the market's worse off than it is. Both can't be true, right? The market can't be crashing so crazy that you can just pick up all these collections at 60 and 70% and all that sort of stuff, but then you can't go on eBay and sell it for, 87% after fees. Right? Both those things can't be true. And nowadays, compared to when I first got in and first started doing this as a business, there are so many other options for places for you to send your cards, right? James Z&G Emporium on eBay, right? You can send stuff there. He does buy it now. He does auction. Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles. If you want to send stuff to Fanatics, you can send to him, and you're going to get better fees through these guys doing none of the work than you can get yourself. Right. So I hear people complain about fees all the time on oh, well, I don't want to sell on eBay. They take so many fees in TCG Player, but you're paying fees somehow, right? Let's say you comp cards on eBay before you go to a local show that you're going to vend at, which you had to pay for a table. You probably had to invest some in cases and different things to display your product and all that sort of stuff, right? But then you comp your cards. So you comp 2 cards and they're $100 each, right? So you sticker them for $100. Somebody comes by, and again, you're hoping that somebody comes by and wants to buy those cards, right? But someone comes by, they see the cards that you stickered for $100 each, and they're like, "Hey, if I take both of these, would you do 180, which is 90%?" And you're going to take it, right? So you just drove out there, paid for the table, spent all this time all day long sitting out there to save 3% on these 2 cards. What could you have been doing to make up that 3%, right? Or maybe you're paying for advertising, or all these other intangible things are the same. There's a reason that you're paying the extra fee on eBay or TCG Player, because you're getting that liquidity. I was watching the Golden Show, and I want to say, I can't remember what the exact number was, but I want to say eBay has 138 million buyers. What if you have 10,000 followers on YouTube or something and you run a whatnot stream? How many people from your YouTube are actually buyers in your whatnot stream? For definitely not 138 million, right? So you have a bad week on your whatnot stream and you think the market is crashing, but it's you could have just gone and listed that stuff on a platform that has all these eyes. They're going to do all the work of getting you a buyer, right? You don't have to spend all this time going out, putting yourself out there in front of the camera, setting up your stream, going to a local store, selling stuff for a percentage there, going and vending at a local show and taking a percentage of market, which is the same thing as fees anyways, right? You can be faceless and nameless, put your stuff on eBay and it'll sell for you, right? So I think some of these smaller businesses kind of fall into this trap of like, well, I can't sell, or my local area isn't, selling as much or whatever, or I'm not getting as good of percentages, or the card shops are lowballing me, or when I set up these local shows, I'm not able to sell, or my stream or whatever. And it's like, dude, just put it on eBay. Just put it on TCG Player. Yeah, you're going to eat more in fees or whatever, but like the liquidity is so insane. And again, we're comping off these websites because that is where these sales are happening. That is where the most liquidity is. This market is so insane, and there are so many more options nowadays than when I got in to be able to sell your products and pay less fees than you could pay yourself doing all the work yourself versus, like I said, just sending it to James, sending it to Dan. If you have sealed products, sending it to DC Sports or Probstein or whoever, right? Like we have to get out of this mindset that what goes on in our little neck of the woods, in our little area, is indicative of what's happening in the rest of this like giant market made up of, I don't know, probably over 1 million people and definitely billions of dollars, right? So hopefully this helps you guys out a little bit. Hopefully this gives you a different perspective on what's actually going on in the market, because I can tell you, as someone that's been here for a long time, we are still very deep in the craziest bull market Pokemon has ever experienced. And there's a lot of opportunity. And for those people that stick around and have a positive outlook and, make decisions that are based on like the actual data rather than like their feelings, or again, like a small amount of anecdotal data, I really believe you're going to be rewarded definitely this year. And especially moving forward, if you stick with this. I've seen so many people build amazing businesses, and a lot of it is just consistency, staying positive, sticking with it, even when it's not the popular thing to do. So hopefully this helped you guys out. I'm going to be making more business content moving forward. So if you're interested or you like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys again later. Thanks.